Okay, so I decided to do this presentation because I wanted to share the research that I've been doing in the last week, and based on that, I also created two ideas that are the 94 and the 142, which are based on the compatibility of the wallet. And so I did it from a technical point of view, so reviewing and researching how we could change the code that we use to generate the mnemonic wallet and the hierarchical deterministic wallet. But actually now I need more like help and feedback from everyone, because I think it will be important, like from any point of view, so UX, UI, from the test team, for anything, because in general the mnemonic wallet is the part of the software that we basically use to create new accounts. And so I created this presentation. So yeah, I'm Andrea Franz, and I'm in the Go team. So this presentation is not really too technical, so I will skip some really deep technical parts, so that we can maybe understand all the way we use the wallet itself. And so we create, so so Status is a decentralized application. So we create decentralized account, and the account creation and recovery is completely decentralized, and it's completely different also from the usual like centralized way that we use in I don't know, every day with online tools and websites and everything. So so I'm going to like present the way we use the mnemonic wallets, and in general all the standards that we are trying to follow. And of course, one of the most important technical parts is, can I import my CryptoKitties in Status? And the answer is at slide 66. So I will try to do it quickly, so that we can understand if we can, or if we cannot, and why, and what are the differences between the ideas that I created. So so what is a wallet software? So well, in general, the word wallets can be confusing, no, for users and everything, because especially if you think about the physical wallets that we use in real life to carry money and everything. But as we know, in blockchain, a wallet software doesn't contain any coins or any token, but it's actually a software that we use to manage keys, and with these keys we can create and sign transaction and manage our tokens and so on. So the main thing that the wallet software does is like managing the private keys. So what is a private key? So we can simply say that a private key is just a really big random number. So when we create an Ethereum private key, we are actually picking like a random number, and which is in the space of 2 to the power of 256 or slightly less. So it means that it's any random number in this space is a valid private key, and it's picked like random. So how can we generate like a private key? So so humans in general are very bad, no, in generating random numbers. So you can actually do it. You can actually do it like picking a random number, or like with dice or something like this. But the best way to do it is actually using a software that uses a cryptographically secure pseudo-random number generator, so that we can be sure that that it's really random. And for this reason, we don't need like a centralized server, no, to validate like if like the private key already exists. So like if our account already exists or not, based like we do for other centralized application like now. And this is why we can also generate a private key, so an account completely offline, because it's just a number. So if you use status, you can open the application and create a new account or recover the account, also if you are not online. So, so how can we back a private key, back up a private key? So the private key is actually our account also. I mean, it's more complicated, especially when we use the hierarchical deterministic wallets. But in general, we can say that the private key that we use is the one that generates the public key, and the public key, from the public key we can derive the address. And usually the address is the one that we use, like of course to receive tokens, and to use like decentralized apps and everything. So in general, if you want to like back up your account, you just need to back up your private key. So as we said, the private key is like a really big number, and we already said that humans are really bad at generating random numbers, but they are also really bad at remembering numbers, especially if they are like big numbers like private keys. So for this reason, like you can also export write the private key down on a paper, but it's really error prone, and it's really dangerous because you cannot understand if it's the right one or not if you write it in the wrong way, like. And so I'm trying to like introduce the way we use the wallet, but feel free to stop me and ask questions if you want. So yeah, so BIP 39. So BIP 39 means Bitcoin Improvement Proposal number 39, and it's like a description of a set of steps that we can use to generate a random number. So basically, using these steps, we can generate a random number and then convert this random number to a list of words, and these words will be basically easier like to back up, because these words are like. So not only all the words can be used. So there is a list in the standard of 2048 words, and they are like picked in a way so that they are unique and they are not similar between each other and everything. So it's really easy like to back up your account in this way. So basically we use this BIP 39. For two things. So one is to generate the mnemonic words, and the second thing is to convert these mnemonic words to a seed. And a seed is just like another number that we use, like we use when we call the cryptographic function that we said to generate a pseudo-random number that will generate the private key and then the public key and then the addresses and everything. So in general, the steps that we use to generate these mnemonic words is this. So the software itself generates a random number that has an entropy or a randomness like of 128 to 256 bits. And then, so it's something you can decide when you implement it. And then it adds a checksum to the number, and it does actually other steps more technical. And then at the end, it splits this number in groups of 11 bits each one, and basically you have now a list of numbers. And for example, if you use 128 bits of entropy, you will have 12 numbers, and each of these numbers is basically the index of a word in this predefined file of 2048 words. So for example, if we generate these 12 groups of numbers, we can see that, for example, we can have the number 3, the number 2, and others. And basically, each one is just like the index of one of these words. So basically, what we can say here is that we generated a random number at the beginning, and now we are just representing the same number with words, but it's the same. So it has the same entropy and everything that we had initially. And so, for example, in this case, the words, so the mnemonic phrase would be about tables, zebra, and something more, because in general, mnemonic words are between 12 and 24 words. So the second part is converting these mnemonic words to a seed. So when you have these mnemonic words, it means that you can back up basically your private key, and you can use them to recover your account. So it means that once you generated them, so once you've done the first step, so then you can always use it in different like wallets and everything to basically convert them to a seed. And this seed is used to generate the private key and the public key and the addresses and everything. So we use this cryptographically this function that it's called like password-based key derivation function 2 that accepts many parameters, and we use it like we send our 12 words, and then the standard says that the second parameter is a salt that following the standard should be the constant string mnemonic concatenated to a passphrase, no? And the password following the standard, the passphrase could be optional. So it means that you can actually have an empty string, which is just like saying I pass mnemonic. And of course, there are other arguments that we pass, but they are more like technical to understand the way the final number like is generated. So this process is deterministic. So it means that every time you use the mnemonic words so like same mnemonic words with the same passphrase will always generate the same seed, which will generate the same private key, which generates the same public key and the same address. So it's exactly what we do when we recover the account. You recover the account in status, you put your 12 words, you put your password, and basically the 12 words are the first parameter, and the second parameter is generated with that salt, which is a string, the constant string mnemonic, plus the passphrase, which is the password that we are using. So one important thing is that if you use the 12 words with different passphrase, there's nothing wrong. So you're just generating a different number. So it means that you are generating a valid seed that generates a valid private key and public key and addresses, and there's no way to understand if it's the correct one that you wanted to import or not. So that's why it's like impossible to validate if the account recovery. So when you recover your account and you put your 12 words, you need, at least the way we are doing now, you need to use the same password. Otherwise, you will generate a different number, and there's no way to understand if it's the right one that you actually wanted or not. And yeah, so basically, as we said, if we use a different password, a different passphrase, we just generate a valid seed and valid private keys and everything. So I'm following just like some questions that I read in the past, like in discussions that we had, and also from users that are using status every day. And I tried like to see why I mean, technically, why some of those things are not possible, or at least now, and what we can do to improve it if we want to improve it. So one question, for example, is can I use my status account in other wallets? So it means, can I open a status, create a new account, and then maybe use it in MetaMask or different things? So for now, no, it's not possible. So, and this is why. So as we already said, when we create the seed, we always need to use the same mnemonic words and the same mnemonic string concatenated to the password. But if you use like a different password, it's just like, as you said, a valid seed and everything. And the thing that we're doing now in status is following exactly the BIP 39 standard, but instead of using mnemonic as a string, so a constant string, we use status IM plus a password, the password that the user wanted to use. And so there's nothing wrong, because in general, the idea of these like steps is just creating a seed, and which is a number. So if we use a different string as a salt, we just generate a different number compared to the one that it's used maybe it's generated maybe following strictly the BIP 39. So the first idea that I created was 94, which is the wallet compatibility. So what I thought after like realizing why it's not possible to export your account and everything was trying to understand if we can actually do it. So basically what we want to do in this idea is just like being able to create an account in status and just import it in other wallets, like in my crypto or my Ether wallet or others. And the technical change is very simple. So it's like changing one string, which is a constant, and there's actually another one more deep, like in other steps that are actually generating the final private key. So just doing this, it can be like compatible with other. So the use cases for this idea are like, if I lose my phone and I want to access my wallet quickly, maybe from a computer of friends, or doing something quickly to my wallet, like moving my tokens and everything. If we follow like this idea, we can do it. And it can be good or bad. I don't see anything bad in this specific use case, but of course I'm open to discussion. So actually I asked for this because I would like to like start more discussions and actually inviting everyone to these two ideas, so 94 and 142. The other use case would be like doing the opposite. So if I already created a wallet outside the status, and this wallet is like following the BIP 39 and actually using the 12 mnemonic words and the password to generate the seed, I will be able to basically import my already existing account, my already existing wallet in status. So is this good or bad? It depends also here. So it would be nice because you can maybe continue to use a wallet that you use with dApps just to play and with a small amount of values inside and everything. But it can be maybe bad or dangerous if I actually want to import my main account or my main wallet when I have all my tokens and everything. So it's not really dangerous, but it's more like, I think, a UX or a way that we need to, I don't know, educate the users maybe. So I actually ask here some help also from anyone, because this means that we are basically leading people like to import a lot of values inside the application, so we could actually be like responsible for this. So this is another question. And finally, we can say, can I import my CryptoKitties after this idea? Well, probably no, actually, because a lot of other wallets are implementing BIP 39, but actually they do it in a different way compared to what we do. So basically, they use the mnemonic words plus the standard constant mnemonic, but they are not using the passphrase, which is optional following the standard. So this means that basically since in status the password is of course mandatory, like, so you need, and we need to use it in the mnemonic in the seed generation. It means that the account will be different, basically. So you can't import an account that is being created with that passphrase. And so talking about the password, so what do we use the password for? So we use it actually for different things. So I mean for two things, so not just for one. So so first of all, we use it as a passphrase, as we've seen now, to generate the BIP 39 seed. And then we also use it to encrypt the private key, and which is actually one of the most important parts for the security, like, because the second point is like saying we save the private key, but we are sure that it's encrypted and it's not like visible from in different way, like. And so after this, so I can another question that I read in the past is like, can I import my external wallet in status, which is like similar to the thing that we just said. So everything here depends on the implementation of other wallets. So as we said now, so if you create a mnemonic, an account in MetaMask, for example, you even following this idea, so of updating the constants that we use to be like more compatible, you can't actually import it because we are strict in the use of the passphrase, also in the generation of the seed. So basically, if you just import an account that you used in MetaMask, you will just create a different account. And this is because you can also test it in other wallets if you want to understand if they are using or not the passphrase as a like extra entropy in the generation of the seed. Like trying to recover the account using in these other wallets, using the 12 words that they gave you and using a different password. So if you see in the end the same addresses that you created, it means that the password is actually used to encrypt like the private key, depending if it's in different ways, depending if it's a browser extension or an application or a mobile application and everything. But it means that it's not used to generate the seed. So for this reason, I also created another idea, which is the 142, and they are separate ideas because we can also decide to like support one and not the other. And this one is like to be able to recover basically the account that you created, for example, in MetaMask in status. So basically the change will be like using the password that we ask to the user only for to encrypt the password. Sorry, to encrypt the key store file, but not to generate the seed. So after this, can I import my CryptoKitties in status? So it still depends, because if we change it completely to basically not use the passphrase, it depends where you so from the original account that you used to actually use CryptoKitties or things like that. So the compatibility will be always basically depending on this. And so basically, in this idea, what we want to do is like keeping, of course, the password to encrypt the private key, and as we said, not using the password basically to generate the seed. So in this case, we still have some pros and cons, and I think a good part can be that you can import like the accounts that you used to use other decentralized apps in other ways. And the bad thing is still the same. So maybe leaving the users able to import like a huge amount of like value and tokens and everything. And we need to understand if we want to do it and how to educate like the users in general. So sorry, this one was double. So future ideas. So I created 2 ideas, but actually I would like to create another one, because the second one, which is called the 142, which is called account recovery, was actually called 2 passwords, but actually it was a little bit maybe confusing, also because maybe it was difficult to understand why we could ask the user to use 2 passwords without following like the steps that we followed now to arrive to this point. So the idea would be that we can use we can ask maybe the user for a password like we are doing now, but we use the password only to encrypt the private key, and then we ask we don't ask for another like password to generate the seed, but we can maybe leave like an advanced options or something for advanced users, so that they can also like use a different passphrase to generate the seed. So this means that if you created an account, for example, in MetaMask, you will use your password to encrypt the private key, and then the seed will be generated only with the 12 words, and you will have your accounts that you created before. Otherwise, if you created the account from another like wallet software that allows you to put a password, if you are like an advanced user, you can still do it. So it will be basically like 100% compatible with BIP 39. And so doing this, we can also, so another like question was from someone was if it was possible like to change your password, and in general now it's not possible. It would be possible like doing some other like technical part, but I mean but I think it would be maybe confusing for users now, and actually I need more help also from UX and everything and ideas about this. But this would be possible if we implement like everything and the new idea also, because one password is just to encrypt the private key, and the other one is just for creating the seed. So they are completely different, and maybe I don't know, you can use it. You can use a different one on each device and everything. And so finally, can I import my CryptoKitties in status? Yes, 100% if we implement everything, because we will be like 100% compatible with like any way to create a mnemonic wallet that follows the BIP 39. So another important part is mainnet, I think. So depending what we want to do, if we want to implement one of these ideas or all, of course, when we start with mainnet, it means that people can, user can users can have real value, like in their wallets. So since we are changing like the way we create the account and we recover the account and everything, it means that after an upgrade, there will be it won't be possible to like regenerate and recover the same account. So of course we can like provide some tools for the migrations, or just leaving a link to the previous like releases, for example. But I mean, this is another topic that I would like to talk about and see what you guys think about. And then the conclusions. So we talked about a lot of things. So we said that we can change our wallet to be completely compatible to BIP39. That we can leave the users to, so give the ability to users to export the account, and actually also generate the BIP39 seed without the passphrase, and allow also users to generate the BIP inside without password, or with a password in advanced options or something like this. And another thing is like splitting the password and using 2 different passwords for encryption of the private key and the generation of the seed. So these are actually all the points that you can do, that we can change based on these research and the ideas that we created. It's actually, they are actually questions. So I would like to, I mean, start more conversation with everyone, so that you can decide together what to do, because I think it's one of the most important parts of the code, because we generate an account and we need to be able to like keep the same algorithm and everything in the next releases and everything. So I finished. And do you have any questions? I think no. Okay, so thank you very much, and please ask questions if you want in Slack and in the.
Andrea?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if you went ahead and caught my question in the Q&A, but just curious what your thoughts are regarding, especially when it comes to using HD wallets.
Yeah.
What might be I'm curious what you think about this idea that I had regarding how to go ahead and create a counter. Because normally how you do an HD wallet is you just do the private key +1,
yeah.
And then you do that ever many iterations of how many keys you own. But what if you were to go ahead and use contract addresses as the counter, so that you would get a deterministic identity generator?
Yeah. So actually the mnemonic wallet part is actually only the one that creates the main root private key. But actually after this, so the hierarchical deterministic wallet is already implemented in Status. And in fact, we are also using, but I think we will talk about this in the next weeks or days. But yeah, we can introduce this. So it's already implemented, and we are using, we are following like the standards of BIP 32 for hierarchical deterministic wallet, and BIP 44, which is like the one that specify a way to solve the derivation path, so that you can have like a tree of keys, and we basically use the standard one. So we already use the private, your account basically is the account that is at derivation path with purpose 44, with coin type 60, which is the Ethereum, and then account 0, change 0, and address 0. Mm-hmm. And it's already implemented to be, so the code is already implemented to create the other children accounts, so basically incrementing the index and everything. We are not using it for now in the interface, but it will be possible, and it's already like, I think, like a part that we can change in the like React code and everything. but the Go parts that generates the HD wallet, it's already working. So this means that you can create. So when you open when you open status, you have a list of accounts. So you choose yours, and then inside that one, for now we just have one wallet, but you will be able to have multiple wallets inside the same account that are like generated using these other standards. I don't know if did I answer the question or
Maybe we'll talk more on the Slack. How about that?
sorry?
We'll talk more on Slack. How about that?
Right. Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, so is there any other question? Okay, cool. So maybe we can stop and let's chat in Slack. Thank you.